The next screen is the inline lunge. This screen attempts to place the body in a position that will focus on the areas that are stressed and stimulated during rotational, deceleration, and lateral type movements. The inline lunge is a test that places the lower extremity in a scissored position that challenges the body's trunk and extremities to resist rotation and maintain proper alignment. The purpose of the inline lunge is to assess hip mobility and stability, quadriceps flexibility, and ankle and knee stability. In describing the inline lunge, the tester measures the length of the tibia with a yardstick or measuring tape. The athlete places one foot on the end of the 2x6 board and holds the dowel behind the back with the right arm up and the left arm down, so that it is touching the head, the thoracic spine, and the sacrum. The tester then places the yardstick at the end of the athlete's toes and makes a mark on the board equal to the length of the tibial height. The athlete takes a step with the left leg and places the heel on the mark, then lowers the back knee enough to touch the board behind the front foot. The feet should be on the same line and pointing straight throughout the movement. The athlete is allowed up to 3 chances to perform the test bilaterally. If testing produces a lower score with either the left or the right leg in front, record the lower score. Criteria for obtaining a 3 are as follows. Minimal to no torso movement is noted. Feet remain in sagittal plane on the 2x6, and the knee touches the 2x6 behind the heel of the front foot. Once again, some tips for testing. The front leg is used to identify the side being scored. The dowel should remain in contact with the head, thoracic spine, and sacrum throughout the test. The front heel remains in contact with the board, and when in doubt, score low. Also watch for loss of balance and remain close to the individual in case he or she has a loss of balance. Now let's review the inline lunge. As we've shown before, this is a contralateral comparison between each side, so I'm going to have Steve do a few reps on each side, and we can go through and review. We're going to start with the back foot, keeping the heel on the floor, on the board, until he actually starts to descend. We're going to touch the left knee behind the right heel. We want to make sure that contact with the right heel, in this case, is continued. And then as Steve ascends back up, we're going to switch feet. I want you to keep in mind as we go through this so that you look at compensations that may occur actually below the waist and above the waist. Some of those compensations may actually be as far as rotation of that back foot externally, right, which could indicate some type of hip mobility problem. These compensations also fulfill themselves above the waist and may indicate into a rotational problem, either for flexion or for lateral rotation. But we want to make sure that throughout that movement that there's contact with the head, thoracic spine, and sacrum or buttock area. And like I said before, that compensation may occur laterally or it can occur as far as forward flexion. But we want to identify them from the ground up, and if you break them down into those that happen below the waist and those that happen above the waist, they will be easier for you to identify. And that's a review of the inline lunge. Remember that this is one of the harder screens to actually score, and you're probably going to have to do quite a few of these screens before you actually feel comfortable